Good morning, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. We are going to be talking with the co-founder of KYLE CAVAN. Elizabeth Shirley is joining us this morning. Let us know who you are and where you're zooming in from in the chat. Would love to welcome you and say good morning on this cold, crisp day in Happy Valley. Let us know where you are. A regular Paul McConaughey up in Cape Cod. Good to see you this morning, sir. And Lauren in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Probably no snow down in Fort Lauderdale. Tatum in Ashburn, Virginia. Welcome in. We'll get started in just a minute with our conversation with Elizabeth Shirley. You're watching the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. Welcome in, everybody. Go ahead and drop who you are and where you're zooming in from in the chat. We'll be getting started in just a moment. Where else would you rather be than a Zoom full of Penn Staters? I'm Paul Clifford, CEO of the Penn State Alumni Association, and welcome to the Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. Each week on Coffee Hour, you can expect to hear the voices of Penn Staters talking about what they're passionate about, and you can expect to feel the pride and the power of the Penn State Network. We are recording this session, and closed captions are available for this event. You can find that information in the chat in Zoom or in the comments on Facebook. Before we dive in, I'd like to highlight a special collaboration by some of our colleges and campuses at Penn State, the Cooking Classic. That will take place every Wednesday evening. So tonight, from January 20th until February 10th. Our first episode was last week. It was amazing. We learned how to make homemade pierogies. And so I hope you'll take the opportunity to tune in to the Cooking Classic tonight. You can find more information about that event in the chat. So we are talking today with Elizabeth Shirley. Elizabeth is the co-founder of KYLE CAVAN, a modern college jewelry company, after a decade-long career in marketing and advertising in New York City, building brands at major campaigns for companies like Johnson & Johnson, Procter Gamble, Peloton, Dick's Sporting Goods, Vera Wang, Living Proof, among many, many others. Elizabeth ventured off on her own to start her own jewelry business. She's also worked closely with celebrity entrepreneurs like Jennifer Aniston and Carrie Underwood. She's got some great stories about that she's going to share with us today. And she has won several awards for her Women Not Objects campaign, several Cannes Lions, the 2017 Fast Company World Changing Idea. Elizabeth is a Penn State graduate from the class of 2007 with a Bachelor of Arts in Advertising and Art History. Elizabeth, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Paul. I'm good. Chilly here in Brooklyn, New York.
Yes. How has quarantine been for you?
I think for everyone, it's been some positive, some negative. We're fortunate that our office is actually still running right now. So we do a little bit of going into the city and a little bit of working from home. And so that's been a nice combination for me.
Well, we're going to talk about your amazing jewelry company in just a minute, but let's start at the very beginning. How did you become a Penn Stater?
Gosh, so I think a theme with my conversation today is my network. I grew up in New York, outside in the suburbs around here, and I had a friend. I was a dancer growing up, and I had a dancer friend that was at Penn State. And when I was looking at colleges, I went to visit her, and I didn't really have a connection to Penn State actually as a New Yorker, but after spending the weekend there with her and seeing the campus during the fall and just the football culture and experiencing, where she went to class and her sorority, I just was completely sold and I decided it was for me.
Excellent. So you enroll at Penn State. What were you involved in while you were a student here?
So I was involved with a couple things, but I was a dancer at Penn State. I was part of one of the dance clubs, so I kept that going. And then I joined a sorority. It was Kappa Kappa Gamma a few years ago now. But that really got me involved in Thon. And as someone from New York, it really helped me meet a lot of people at the school. You know, it's a big school, but it really allowed me to build these amazing friendships that I still have today. Many of the girls are on right now. And so it was a great opportunity to meet close friends.
Well, a special welcome to the sisters of Kappa Kappa Gamma that are joining us today on Coffee Hour. Uh, this is the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. I'm Paul Clifford. I'm joined by KYLE CAVAN co-founder Elizabeth Shirley. So you graduate from Penn State in 2007. You go back to New York. You start your career in advertising and had some pretty great experiences managing brands like Johnson and Johnson, Vera Wang, Peloton. Um, how did you help these companies advance their brands?
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to touch upon, one of my first jobs out of college. I interviewed with someone without knowing that he went to Penn State, and so it was really a great way to automatically have a connection with someone else. And I really feel like the Penn State Network has helped me throughout my entire career. But in terms of brands, it's varied per brand. Each brand has a unique set of challenges. So for brands under, say, the Johnson and Johnson umbrella, we were building really, big campaigns that, um, you know, kind of told the message of their particular products in cool, beautiful ways. For a brand like Peloton, they were really early on. I remember sitting in the room with the CEO of Peloton saying, this is going to be like Facebook. This is going to be a multimedia company, and we're going to have treadmills and all this stuff. And we were like, respecting the passion, but, didn't, it was really early on. And so it's really amazing. We created several digital campaigns for Peloton, and it's really amazing to see that company just completely take off in quarantine, especially. But he really is an example as an entrepreneur to me that really believed in the vision and then actually executed on it. For Dick's Sporting Goods, they approached us because they were looking to build a brand under their portfolio with Carrie Underwood. And so we really worked with Carrie to understand sort of her ethos, and we really brought that into the brand we built. And so everything from the packaging, the logo design you see, the fabrics, the design, the taglines, we worked with, created very closely with Carrie. And so that was a cool experience because, you really got to know someone on a deeper level. And I know these people say this about celebrities all the time, but she really is like just a lovely person, really into her family and really wanted to build a brand that could inspire other women
Yeah.
to stay the path, work out.
And you've had the opportunity to work with a number of celebrities. I know you've worked with Jennifer Aniston. You talk about the Penn State Network. I'm not sure if that connection ever came up, but Jennifer's father is a Penn State grad, John Aniston. So talk a little bit about your work with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. Jennifer Aniston and her hairstylist, Chris McMillan, were investors in a company called Living Proof. And Living Proof is now found, it's hair care that's now found everywhere from Sephora to, a lot of high-end marketplaces. But at the very beginning, we really helped them, our agency really helped them create the packaging, the positioning of the brand, everything that you see, the campaigns. And so it was an interesting relationship because it was not only Jennifer Aniston, the face, where we're working with her in that, like with the photographers and the stylists in that way, but also, she had a connection that was more deeply connected to the brand that she was advertising. So that was really cool just to have exposure to someone of her level. It's not every day that you get to experience that, but also really lovely and great to work with.
So we are going to be opening it up for questions. If you have a question for Elizabeth about her company or about her entrepreneurial journey, you can drop those questions in the Q&A tab at the bottom of the Zoom video window, or if you're on Facebook, go ahead and drop those in the comments. So one of the things, as I was doing some background research about you, Liz, was the work that you did on a campaign called Women Not Objects. It's a campaign about the harm objectifying women has on businesses. The campaign received global recognition, right? I mentioned in the intro, several Cannes Lions Awards, the 2017 Fast Company World Changing Idea. Talk a little bit about that campaign and some of the recognition you've received.
Absolutely. Well, so this was an interesting thing. So my last agency, advertising agency, Badger and Winters, actually took on this campaign and initiative themselves. So usually you'll have like a client that you're doing it for, or brand that you're doing it for.
Right.
This was our agency itself. I think it might have inspired also some entrepreneurial qualities in me after, but this was years ago now, and fortunately we've made, I think, a ton of progress in the world. But at the time, it was a campaign that called out that the objectification of women in advertising had a negative effect on businesses from a revenue standpoint, and also obviously from a psychological standpoint. We called out campaigns like Carl's Jr., where you have like naked women treated like objects. That were successful campaigns for those companies, but what happens over time, it erodes what how you view a woman. A woman should not be treated as an object. So the campaign called that out in a really powerful way. We took footage from different campaigns and really just stated it. And we did it. It was a scrappily made campaign. We shot pretty much like, in our office, or in, at the end of a time at a studio where we could do it for pretty cheap. And we put it out in the world, and it was picked up by, tons of celebrities. It was picked up by media outlets all over the country, but also the world. And because of that, we received recognition at Cannes, at the Cannes Lions, and in France. So it was a really cool project to be able to work on something that had no brand affiliation. It was just something that we believed in and we put out and we made ourselves. And the message had a powerful effect. And I think you see a shift in advertising today. You don't see that as much, where women are treated in that way, which is a really amazing thing.
Yeah. So you're having your career is moving along nicely, right? You're at Badger, you're working on award-winning campaigns like Women Not Objects. Where did the idea to then journey out on your own and start KYLE CAVAN come from? What did you always want to start your own business? Tell us, what's the origin story?
Absolutely. No, I did not always want to start, or I didn't know I wanted to start my own business. I've always been a very independent worker. So any place I've worked at, I feel like I was always given a lot of independence. And because I worked in the advertising marketing world, I was exposed to a lot of different companies and sets of challenges. So I think that kind of just whet my appetite for, starting something my own, like being able to take ownership of like top to bottom what you're creating and putting out there. And, I never had an idea. And then my best friend for 20 years, Kyle, she went to Duke. I went to Penn State. We were separate, and then we came back together in New York, had different careers. And she had gone back for a college reunion. and she's a very fashionable person. She loves jewelry. She loves meaningful jewelry. She has lots of layers going on, like her mom's chain, or, a piece from her, graduate, from another life event. And she was just saying to her friends that she wished she had like a cool, meaningful piece from college. And so what happened is she actually just went back and literally searched online for, a Duke piece. And she really was only seeing jewelry that was really meant for like game day, like more athletic, a little bit on the cheaper end, and then class rings, which for her was just complete, not her style and not something she wanted to wear in New York after college. So that was the birth of the idea. That was the birth of the idea of this company. And, she told me, she got started in a few designs, and she told me, would you want to like build a company around this? And at the time we were working in New York, and we're surrounded by these young women starting companies, like Emily Weiss of Glossier, Jen Rubio, Penn Stater of Away Travel, these young women of our same age, really disrupting these old school industries. And, after I looked at the college space, something I didn't know was that this is all licensed. I'm sure you guys know as well at Penn State, but I'm not close. We weren't close to this. So everything is licensed. So it's not just a jewelry company. It's really a licensed jewelry company, which is a much more difficult industry to get into. To get licensing is very challenging. And so I looked at it, and I really just saw the sort of old school class ring companies were dominating the space. And I got excited, like, as this is a space that we could really build a brand and foster community and give back like these other industries are doing right now. And so that's when I got excited enough to be like, you know what, this is worth the risk to try. And I always said to myself, if it doesn't work out, I said to myself this, I said, if I'm 90, am I going to be 90 and be like, oh, I regret doing this? And I just kept on saying, no, I'm not going to regret it. I'll try it. If it doesn't work, I'll go back and get a job. And so that's sort of my mentality in jumping into it.
So tell us a little bit about your company, about your products, where the product ideas come from. I'm going to share my screen and actually show some of your products here. If you could see the Penn State line, but go ahead and tell us a little bit more about KYLE CAVAN.
Yeah, so we're still a very new company. We're only about a little under 2 years. The first couple of years, we really focused on the relationships in the industry and getting the licensing for universities and sororities. And what we want to do is create collegiate pieces that are subtle, that are designed, that you can wear if you're on a date or if you're at a game day. And so a lot of the pieces are inspired by vintage coins. So Kyle has designed all of the coins. They have very beautiful details, like a Florentine finished edge, which is an Italian technique, or a beautiful bail. And they're deeply engraved with, say, Penn State's seal. Or we also are known for, we're trying to think of ways to celebrate your alma mater without necessarily just shouting the athletic marks, which are totally awesome for game day, but for maybe not every day in New York. And so we also have an architecture collection. So we have a really tiny Old Main. We wanted to do architecture because, for me, I still remember to this day walking through campus on a fall day past Old Main, and that nostalgia that I feel is like sort of what we wanted to bottle when we created the architecture collection. And so, that's just a cool way. A lot of people probably have no idea what you're wearing, right? And they'll be like, what is that? And then that's when you can say, this is Old Main. I'm wearing an 1855 necklace, Gothic inspired, and that's the founding year of Penn State. So really subtle ways, I try to mix up the collection all the time, but like cool, subtle ways to wear your alma mater without, just shouting. And so that's really inspired the collection. We're really excited because we started with very select pieces, and we're going to expand quite a bit this year. We want to bring in beautiful stones and chains and things that just like make it cool, but just really tell your story about, Penn State and, that sort of time period that has shaped you to be who you are today.
So, so talk a little bit about how partnerships like Run the Runway and the partnership that you have with Miss America have helped to grow your company.
Absolutely. So Rent the Runway, again, the theme of your network, the power of your network. One of our best friends at the time was working at Rent the Runway, and they were looking for a collection for their ambassadors. So we collaborated and created a really, chic little collection that they all got for their summer program. And we actually partner with all different types of organizations within college and outside of college to create really beautiful custom pieces. We've worked with the NFL Steelers, making all of the players' wives and the female staff's gifts. And we try to do pieces for the Steelers piece. It was really beautiful, organic version of their hypercycloid. I'm probably saying that word wrong. I always say it wrong. But it's a, really organic piece. And, it was just, we can do all these different things with the umbrella idea of, these pieces go back to a community, back to the places that like kind of shape your journey. With Miss America, we were approached by them. They had a challenge a few years ago with sort of, some bad associations and not bad associations, but just a sort of change in sort of culture. And so, but Miss America is an amazing organization. They are actually the biggest scholarship provider in the country. These young women are amazing speakers and mentors. And so we felt it was an organization that lined up nicely with what we believe in. And they have an amazing community. They really support each other. And so for those reasons, we wanted to get involved.
So a couple questions coming in. Margaret Steno wants to know, what's your favorite product from your brand?
My favorite product from KYLE CAVAN. So I mean, I love this little 1855, but I also wear the Penn State Seal Sunburst necklace in 14 karat gold pretty much every day too. But like I said, I try to switch it out. But what I love about it is that I can layer it with, I love chain. I love, I could wear it every day here in Brooklyn or at the office.
Another question coming in. Do you join in any events like the Penn State Arts Festival, or is there any place where you display your art? Do you display your products in State College yet?
Not yet. We are right now primarily direct to consumer on KYLECAVAN.com, but I would love, it's been a little bit challenging with the pandemic, but I would love to do a pop-up at Arts Fest or on campus, or work with boutiques on on campus to sell some of these pieces.
So the entrepreneurial journey is more like riding on a roller coaster than it is a straight line. What are some of your biggest lessons learned so far in your journey?
It is definitely a roller coaster. It humbles you, which I feel very fortunate to kind of have this experience and at my age. But one of the two big lessons for me, and it sounds like a lesson that everyone says, but use your network. One of the things, if you want to start a company or even when you're an entrepreneur, like supporting each other, talking to other entrepreneurs or people who have started businesses, asking, there are no dumb questions. When we first started this business, especially in the licensing world, we felt almost scared to ask certain questions. And, I almost wish I just asked all of the dumb questions up front, because there are no dumb questions. Everyone is going through this. So I would say, use your network, talk to as many people as possible. Especially if you're a Penn Stater, this network is amazing. And then also, Yeah, I mean, use your network is probably the biggest thing.
So, as I was looking into some of the things that you and your company have been part of, um, you talked about the impact of the pandemic. And during the pandemic, you made the decision to donate proceeds of your 2020 collection. Can you talk about that decision and what drove you to that?
Absolutely. So I think it was March 13th, right? When, at least in New York, where everyone just like shut down. And, as someone who's an entrepreneur and has a startup, that's a very scary moment. So,
Right.
we quickly pivoted and we got our team together and we're like, what can we do during this time? And one of the things we thought of is celebrating. We had several interns at the time that were graduating, so class of 2020, and we came up with this collection for the class of 2020, but it's using the Roman numerals MMXX, a
XX,
little bit
right?
cooler, and because it wasn't like didn't have a school logo on it or things like that, we don't have to pay royalties on it. So instead of just taking that extra money in, we decided that what better way to honor the class of 2020 than to give back to an organization that needs it right now, especially in the pandemic. We chose No Kid Hungry because, like I said, I'm in Brooklyn. New York City school system shut down, and I felt like giving kids food access was something that could immediately be felt. And so we ended up donating 20% of that collection to No Kid Hungry. To date, we've been able to donate over the equivalent to 60,000 meals and thousands of dollars. And, it really, when Kyle and I started the company, we always talked about a company that we would build collections to give back. But when you're starting a company, you're working on so many things at once. And we always said, let's build that into like the 3 to 5 year part of our business. And the pandemic just expedited that. We're like, let's do it now. And that really showed us that this is something that we want to build into our business no matter what. To be able to have my own business and give back is extremely rewarding. And so it has inspired other collections after that and collaborations that we're working on for the future.
Excellent. Couple questions coming in, wanting to kind of dig a little deeper into the inner workings of your company. So, Courtney and Brooke have about the same question. So, how have you found the manufacturing process? Courtney started a company that was very reliant on international production. She's interested in knowing how you've navigated that world without having the experience in supply chain and any lessons that you've learned along that.
Yeah, that's a great question. That was another territory that I said, we were almost scared to ask certain questions, but it's funny. I actually wasn't scared to ask questions in manufacturing because I know what I don't know, and I really did not know manufacturing going in. So we did a lot of research. We talked to a lot of people about what made sense for us. We started actually locally in New York just to get it going. And then we actually pitched ourselves to a lot of jewelry companies, the idea of this company and what it could be. And so one of our primary manufacturers, they're making like Tiffany's brands that we all are associated, we all know. We pitched them and they've been great. One of the benefits to that partnership is that we actually manufacture an on-demand model. So you could imagine having inventory for 75 plus colleges and Greek organizations at certain levels can be really daunting for a startup. So they really worked with us on a model that allows us some flexibility. And they also fortunately did not shut down during the pandemic. So that was also sort of I think it just lucky for us that
Right.
happened.
So we have a number of young alumni on Coffee Hour today, listening to you tell your story. One question that has come in is talk about your transition from college to working full time, and maybe even just from college, right? In state college, you were going home to New York, right? But certainly New York City and Brooklyn is a different lifestyle. Talk a little bit about your transition from student to working full time.
Yeah. Well, like I said, so after college, I got a job. I interviewed at the Penn Stater. I got a job. I lived at home for the first year and commuted from the suburbs in New York into the city. Um, Challenging because you're working, at least my first job, I was working till like 8, 9, sometimes 10 o'clock at night. But I really recommend it. I mean, in terms of setting yourself up financially, that just made sense, where I could save money for a year, kind of get my footing and understand how the working world works. And then I moved into the East Village in Manhattan. And yeah, I mean, I've been in the city ever since. So you get used to city life after a while. I don't know if that really answers the question. And I don't know if the question also relates to this, but I will say I have several interns right now. I feel really fortunate because our interns from at least last summer during the pandemic came back to us and are still with us. And the intern, everyone keeps on coming back, even post-college, which is it's really nice. But I will say, working in any capacity while you're in college is so important. And it doesn't have to be the perfect job. Like just gaining different types of experiences will start to make you realize or help you understand what you don't like and what you do like. And you really don't have to know what you want to do. Like, for example, I'm doing something completely different than I thought I would ever do. But all those different experiences add up to sort of figuring out what you want. And so I always just say, like, just take a couple jobs, like do some work for a brand for 5 hours a week, and just get experience, and it will help you set you up for post-college working.
Great advice. This is the Penn State Alumni Association's Coffee Hour. I'm Paul Clifford. I'm joined by KYLE CAVAN co-founder Elizabeth Shirley. So Elizabeth, I know a number of companies in your space are looking for celebrity endorsements, right? Or they send their product out to folks in hopes that they'll wear it on the runway and that'll explode, right? So I have an idea for you, right? I noticed that Howard University is one of your licensed partners. Have you thought about sending our new vice president one of your Script Howard piece?
Yes, I would love to. If anyone in the Penn State Network works in the government, hit me up. I'd be honored. I mean, just regardless of political affiliation, it's amazing that a woman as a vice president of the country, and came from an HBCU like Howard. And so, yeah, I mean, just as with any of our collections, we want people to wear these pieces and remember where, what sort of shaped who they are today. And that's an example that I'd love Kamala to wear one of her pieces from a piece from the collection to remember her time at Howard. So help me out.
Excellent. Well, we will try. We will try to back channel that connection. So,
Awesome.
So we like to have a little bit of fun here on Coffee Hour. So I'm going to just throw some quick questions at you, and you kind of share the first thing that comes to mind. So first, your favorite Penn State memory.
Oh God. This is sort of a great memory, but also a sad memory because we road tripped to actually Michigan for a Penn State Michigan game in 2006. That was an incredible game. And we were with like so many Penn Staters road trip together. So it felt very, like protective of our school and our team. It was a tragic loss, but it really was one of those experiences that just, I remember like being with my friends and road tripping, and it was pretty cool.
One of the ultimate heartbreakers in Penn State football history, that game.
Yeah.
Your favorite class at Penn State?
It's funny. I thought about this before the call. I had some really great advertising classes, but one of the classes I loved it was a religious studies class, and it just exposed me to all different religions and different like ways of thinking. And I think that sort of like has influenced sort of me as a brand marketer and like thinking about different challenges and different points of views. And so it was a class I liked.
How about if you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be and why?
Ooh, good question. I'm a pretty big music person. So maybe James Murphy from LCD Sound System, which is a
Okay.
Brooklyn-based band.
Okay. And since you're in one of the food capitals of the world, where would it be in New York City?
Ooh, best restaurant. Well, I have to shout out, I have a restaurant on the corner in Greenpoint, Brooklyn called Naked Dog. And it's this really neighborhoody Italian joint that, they're really Italian and you could just, there's no reservations. You walk in and it's just really warm. And I highly recommend it for anyone coming to Brooklyn. Greenpoint is right next to Williamsburg. Everyone knows Williamsburg. So they're pretty much right next to each other and sort of share a lot of the same culture.
So, what is your most unusual "we are" moment? Kind of an unusual or unexpected place that someone shouted out "we are" because they recognized you as a Penn Stater.
Oh gosh, I would say abroad.
Yeah.
I studied in Sevilla with a bunch of Penn Staters, and um, I want to say I don't know if she's on the call, but one of my best friends from Penn State, we went to a trip for spring break to Florence, and it was definitely in Florence, Italy for Easter. We had no money. We were in a hostel. Like it was one of those like kind of very memorable experiences all around.
How about your favorite Penn State sport?
Football for me. Yeah, it's funny. I was never a huge football person before going to Penn State, but it does something to you there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And your favorite flavor of creamery ice cream?
Oh God, I'm so boring. I'm vanilla all the way. So, I'm not boring. I'm very classic. I love a good classic vanilla.
So, a couple questions coming in. If you have questions for Elizabeth, go ahead and drop them in the Q&A tab. So, uh, Annie would like to know, looking back, is there anything you wish you did or knew in college that you believe would have better prepared you for your career today?
Yeah. I, you know, I go back to the working, and maybe it's just different today because I have all these young women and men reaching out to do internships or to do work. I would have done more stuff like that. I had an internship, but I think I would have started earlier. But it doesn't matter if you did or did not start earlier. I would just say, even if you're at the end and you're graduating this year, you could pick up an experience even this semester where you're like working with the company and even just for a few hours just to get to gain more a diversity of experience, which I think is really important. So even if you think you're on like one path, sometimes trying something else out that's similar but different will help you kind of expand and help you understand what you like and don't like.
So certainly there are no limits in the collegiate space, right? In terms of continuing to add schools
Yeah.
to the KYLE CAVAN brand. But what are some other markets that you're thinking about growing your business in? What's kind of next for your brand?
Yeah. I mean, one of our goals in the next couple of years is really to go deeper into, we want to do like experiential things on campus and pop-ups and collaborations with, cool artists. And, that's sort of like the dream. We also, have talked about expanding to new categories and also potentially in international markets. I mean, there's really, especially in like the UK, there's a strong affiliation to where you go to university in Canada. Um, but for now, in the short run, we really want to go deeper with the collections we have. There's really amazing communities that really have no idea who we are. So we want to start there and introduce new pieces and new styles and new experiences for people to get to know us.
Well, Elizabeth, we want to thank you for joining us on Coffee Hour today. Our alma mater says, may our lives swell thy fame. And you're certainly swelling the fame of dear old state with your work at KYLE CAVAN. So thank you for coming on Coffee Hour and sharing your story and for all the great things that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
And we want to thank you all for joining us. If you're a member of the Penn State Alumni Association, thank you so much for your support. If you're not, what are you waiting for? Go to our website today at alumni.psu.edu, and you too can become a member of the world's largest alumni association. Thank you for all you do for the university, for the glory, and for the future. We are.
We are. Thank you so much.